become a junior doctor. They'll do a placement here and a placement there, depending on the consortium. I think consortiums are a good way to share skills and get healthcare workers used to working outside one organisation.
Yes, indeed. And I think what I'm hearing you say there is, I was interested in your comment about, that partnering is done for different reasons. It sounds like you're making a judgment. Well, we've got this particular need. Who is the best partner? That we could help us with that need, as distinct from others who would be willing but may not have.
I guess in any partnership, you say to yourself, they have something we need. What do we offer back?
Yeah.
How do you build that? Mutual benefit. Those kind of things. So you've got to balance your own organisation's strategic needs and resource needs versus, it'd just be nice to play with that partner. Because sometimes, our partnership with VU can be precarious at times because VU's in the West and they would really like to see Western being their sole partner. So in other words, they would get access to all clinical
Victoria
placements.
University.
To all clinical placements. But when I've had to have a conversation with them about it, is a good example is we might give them, out of all the nursing student placements we have over the year, we would allocate about 85% of those to VU. But we do not get 85% of their nursing graduates. So I said to them, I can't give you any more because I wouldn't have a workforce supply line, because the workforce supply line's coming from La Trobe, Monash, Melbourne, Catholic University, all different universities. And so I need to be able to still offer some clinical placements to those universities. When you can give me 100% of A+, the best nursing graduates, then we could probably have a different conversation. So
what was their reaction to that?
They were surprised that I was so direct, and but they did some reflection, because when I actually said, you're not even getting your conversion rate. You've got they've got a higher failure rate. So I said, so we're giving you the placements, you might be paying them for us. So if we were just looking at it from a monetary perspective, then I don't have any issues. But I'm looking at it as a now and future workforce supply line. Your model is not exactly. They've actually they have recalibrated their first year model for their students. So they've responded, I guess. So in that partnership, I suppose what I'm really saying is, for it to be effective, it also has to be honest.
Just on the point of, again, we were talking about some general characteristics and issues that influence partnering. But down at the level of the actual workforce, are there particular skills or behaviours, or indeed HR or workforce management practices that in partner organisations that kind of influence the ability to partner? Do you think you talked about?
I do. There's a couple of things. Is that you need to employ people in the first place who are open to change, who can be adaptable and can do that quickly, because health changes so quickly, and you need people who are prepared to move out of their current role into a different role, and whether that's within your organisation or even outside the organisation. And then you need a HR system that enables that to happen, so that the system is a bit nimble as well. So secondment, for example, there are things that a person personally have at risk. So if we second someone outside a health service, so say we wanted to send someone to bring back counsel to do 12 months, then if we just agreed to the secondment and the council paid them, they'd lose all their leave entitlements.
No.
So from an enterprise agreement and award perspective, then they are being disadvantaged. And so for some things, some people, that's an intrinsic motivator. So if you look at long service leave, if I was to break my employment record, like for a period of time, outside health, then my long service leave would come to a standstill. So then I'd have to come back in health to get that going again. So, there are often some conversations that need salary packaging, for example. Not everyone's got access to that, and that makes a difference to someone's pay. So there are all those nuances, sick leave and all of those entitlements that are impacted for people. So you need to be careful about that. So we sometimes do negotiate workarounds. So if we wanted someone from the university to come and work at Western for a while, if the university seconded them to us and we paid them, they would lose their, you get paid something like 17% super in university, yeah.
Okay.
Whereas we're 9.5%. So what we then tend to do is to say to the university, you employ them, keep them on your books and invoices. And so we try and do workarounds that way.
Okay.
So on one of the secondments just recently, it was easier if we actually said we'll keep paying them and then we'll invoice you for their salary.
So it sounds like the general issue here is if you like, the interoperability of these HR systems, and it sounds like because it's not easy always to do that, you've got to try and find some workarounds, to get around that.
And so you've got to have an organisation whose culture is, we can work something out and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, kind of a can-do kind of mindset. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Again, just on the the skills or behaviours in these partner organisations, is there anything else that kind of stands out for you as making a difference in terms of their usefulness as partners, if I can put it that way?
The skills are around engagement, influencing, collaboration.
Yeah. All of those.
It's harder to define the clinical because it might be we don't have a neurosurgeon and we need a neurosurgeon. So that's a really distinct technical skill.
Yeah.
So that would be numerous, when it comes to clinical skills.
So the value of those is entirely dependent on on whether there's a specific need for that specialist skill. Okay. Whereas some of the other ones are more generic.
And the other generic one for a health service would be something around teaching. And skill exchange and mentoring, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, in the clinical space or
both.
Both. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So just focusing now, just in the last bit on your own organisation, because we've been talking mainly about partner organisations. So here I'm interested just to explore some of the things that you've been doing on this side of the fence to help, Western Health, take advantage of partnering and position itself for partnering. In terms of some of the workforce factors, again, the skills, behaviours, or indeed the HR practices that you've been trying to kind of encourage here, are there some things there that
I guess
stand out?
It'd have to be about some of the leadership work that we try and do with the organisation and some of the cultural work that we try and do with the organisation. So with the Bacchus Marsh stuff, for example, which, Safer Care Victoria was born out of, we have supported that organisation through a lot of their hardship, and it's probably not something that's...
This is the Djerrawurra.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, our clinical service director, Glenn Teal, as an obstetrician, started to go over there and help with their M&Ms, for example. At the time, we had a director of nursing and midwifery who had a really strong midwifery background.